diet and lifestyle. I used to work in a fish and chip shop when I was a student, so I was eating fish 3 days a week. And then you're like, eating fish regularly is good and oily fish, and I was like, yeah, winning. And then you said, don't have tuna every day, and I have it every day for breakfast. And I just had 2 salmon finger sandwiches, so I should probably watch my step a little bit. What I'll be talking about today is just exercise and health. It's not hugely specific to MS, just because exercise is good for everybody and no exercise is bad for everybody. So got a couple of statistics and so on to hopefully strike fear into the hearts of everybody in this room and motivate you all to leave today, go get a gym membership, get the runners out of the cupboard and so on. Somebody said, yeah, right, it's good for you. A lack of exercise falls into being a lifestyle disease, and the lifestyle disease is just an umbrella term for all the diseases that occur as a result of us not doing enough. And it's second only to smoking in being the worst thing you can do for your body. Considering that we live in a first world country and we've got some of the best technology in the world and some of the best services and education available to us, it is pretty full on that we're suffering so badly from something that is completely avoidable. And I think a good analogy is, as television screens and computers and mobile phones have gotten smaller and thinner, we've gotten bigger and fatter. Exactly, it works perfectly as a model. A couple of the effects of being sedentary, or rather a lot of them, I'll just go over pretty briefly. There's lots of mental health concerns. There's obviously cardiovascular problems and problems associated with blood. And if you don't exercise very much, you become weaker, you're more prone to falls. And when you do fall, the fall's more likely to be more catastrophic because you're more prone to fractures and so on. And 66% of Australians are sedentary. So that means 2/3 of the people in this room don't do enough exercise. And if you have MS, I'm letting you off the hook. But everybody else, what's the excuse? And a lot of the MS people that I see who've been newly diagnosed or have had it for a few years, they come in, they do their balance scores, they do their strength scores, and they think, oh geez, this is terrible. But they're actually a lot better than a lot of the kids that I've seen at PMH and out in the community in regards to their balance and strength, because we're now at an all-time low for how many people are getting the right amount of exercise and how many people are actually fit. I've actually worked with teenagers who are so weak they can't walk properly and they can't stand up on their tippy toes, and there's nothing wrong except they've never done it before. On the graph, I'll try a little laser pointer. Can I please have text bullet then? Oh, perfect, got it. Lovely. And thank you, Damien, for all your work today. It's been fantastic.
You're welcome.
So on this graph here, the flesh-coloured bar represents females, and the blue bar represents males. Hurrah, the girls have a higher graph percentage, woohoo, but it's actually in the sedentary column. So, sorry girls, but you don't do as much exercise as guys. However, I think, before everybody crucifies me and I get in trouble for being sexist, I think if we took out the amount of blokes that do manual labour as work, it would probably be pretty similar. And the stats for people that stop exercising regularly after they're in a long-term relationship is huge. So I think we're all equal to blame. And the main thing is we didn't evolve to be inactive. And, for billions of years, depending on your beliefs, where we came from and so on, we've evolved to become stronger and fitter by hunting, gathering, and protecting our young, fighting off predators, etc. And then in the last 400 or 500 years, we haven't had to do it. Life's gotten a lot easier. We don't need to go out every night and chase animals around, hunt them down, try and kill them. And nowadays, you can pretty much never leave the house and get everything that you need. People can work from the computer. You can order food from Coles and have it delivered to your house. And now we even have these services where other companies will deliver food to your place if you're trying to order from a restaurant that doesn't do home delivery, which I think kind of sums up where we are as a society. So this perfect equilibrium, sorry for blowing into the microphone too much, the perfect equilibrium of exercise to survive and by surviving, getting stronger, has broken down. And so that's why we're getting all these lifestyle diseases, because our bodies aren't made just to sit around doing nothing. And if you do sit around doing nothing, you have a whole host of problems that occur as a result of it. So, what I was talking about before, Uber Eats. Uber Eats is one of the companies that will deliver food to your house if you want to buy it from a restaurant that doesn't do home delivery. I've noticed in the last 6 months, 12 months since it's come into being, if you go out for dinner on a Wednesday or a Thursday night, there's hardly anybody out. The restaurants are a lot quieter, but you'll see these Uber Eats drivers running in and out 4, 5, 6 times in half an hour, just cranking the business. And I think that's really, really sad. So if you're going to use that company, but okay, maybe 10% of people don't need to, or don't have the time or the ability to get out, great, okay, fine. But for everybody else, you're missing out on that tiny bit of exercise you would have got walking to the car, from the car to the restaurant, eating, and then back to the car. The other things I have up there are social media. So the average person spends about 2 hours on social media a day. If you're doing it when you're in your car, you shouldn't, you'll be in trouble. But if you're spending 2 hours a day on social media, that's 2 hours a day you could be actually doing something active. And lots of research has now shown that spending too much time on social media, irrespective of the exercise problems and the problems associated with your cardiovascular health, is it's not good for your mental health either. And so sitting is the next thing. The sitting is the next thing that's killing us. Hopefully by now a lot of you are pretty scared and you're going to start exercising. I don't know, something like 50% of gym memberships only get used once or twice. So if one person takes this message home, I think I'm still winning. I won't belabor the negative effects of exercise too much. They're up there that you can read. This graph here shows the BMI increase from 1880 to 1980 of 18-year-old white American males. And so what's happened is the people that were at about 23 BMI, sorry the numbers are a bit blurry, have risen up to be about a 26 or something over 100 years. It's an increase of about 10 kilos or so. But the people that were obese and above 30, 35, 100 years ago have now rocketed right up to 50. So that's practically a 100% increase in weight. So somebody being, I don't know, 100, 150 kilos here, they're now up to the 200, 280, 200, even 300 kilos. I have treated people in hospital who are 280 kilos, and the problem is, even though you can carry that weight, your bones and your muscles and stuff aren't good quality. And so if you fall and have a fracture, there's not a lot the doctors can do because there are no steel implants or titanium rods that can support the amount of weight that's going to have to go on the fracture. So we now have people that are 5 assist to walk. Never had anybody with MS who's needed 5 assist to walk, and 5 assist to walk is 4 physios and a nurse and a walking frame and a pulpit followed by a wheelchair trying to support that person to walk with only putting 20% of their weight on the leg. So it's pretty full on. And when you see it, you're just like, wow, this is crazy that we live in a first world country, we've got all this technology, all this education, and we're going backwards. So exercise is the secret. That's why we've survived so long. Exercise is pretty much survival of the fittest. You keep fit and healthy, you're more likely to survive longer. I think the most important thing is rather than thinking of yourself and living your lifestyle and then you add in exercise if you feel like it and you take out exercise if you don't, they should be integrated. You know, exercise should be part of your lifestyle, should be part of everything you do, and it shouldn't be a matter of, oh yeah, I'm too tired, I won't bother tonight. And rather than going to the doctor, seeing the physio for a sore back, the physio gives you some exercise, you do it for a while and then you stop. It really should be integrating it into your lifestyle. Same with the healthy eating and eating fish. I'm going to have to go home and stop eating as much fish, change things up a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just getting a bit carried away with the fish. There isn't anybody in here who shouldn't be exercising. And I think that's one of the big changes with a disability. If we go back 15, 20, 30 years, if somebody had a severe disability like MS, motor neurons disease, there wasn't a lot that you'd see these people doing. But now we've got a lot more exercise options available. People can play lots of wheelchair sports and so on and so forth. And neurological conditions of degenerative or stable nature aren't an excuse for not exercising. And all the evidence points to the fact that The more exercise you can do and the more active you can be, the better it is for your health, irrespective of what conditions you do have. Doesn't matter who you are, what your personal beliefs about exercise are. At some point in your life, I promise you, a health professional is going to tell you that you do need to start exercising. The benefits of exercise are tenfold. The best ones are it helps reduce stress, and considering social media use increases stress and makes us more impatient and more irritable. It's a good thing to do because we're on social media all the time. We're always using phones, Facebook, etc. Has a reduced risk of dementia, cancer, obesity, diabetes, a lot of conditions that are preventable, and a lot of them that, whilst they may not be preventable, we can reduce. So dementia is on the increase at the moment. It's rapidly skyrocketing up there, and part of the reason for that is our diets are so poor and we all exercise so little. And you have boost immune response, you recover faster if you're fitter, and you have overall reduced systemic inflammation. And so a lot of people who are overweight do end up being more sensitive to allergens, more sensitive to skin conditions, rashes, etc. And that's because if you're carrying extra weight, fat is an organ that produces inflammatory chemicals, so you exist in a high state of inflammation. So if something does come along, it's a little bit like you sneaking up on somebody who's 10 out of 10 stressed and going, no. They're going to react a lot more than someone who's really relaxed and chilled out. And that's one of the big things that we can do, is just try and restore the equilibrium in our bodies. There's no one form of exercise that's better than any other. If you go and watch TV and infomercials, you'll find out that if you buy a wobble board, it's the best, or if you buy an aero Pilates machine, it's the best thing you can do. Apart from a balance exercise, the wobbling platforms don't substitute running. It's not possible. So save your money, spend it on something else. There are obviously safer and more dangerous forms of exercise. If somebody wants to learn to do handstands, great, but I recommend doing it against a wall. Cool, so exercise and neurological conditions. There are a couple of things we have to be aware of. Exercise is good for everybody, and everybody will benefit from it. Obviously, though, there are a few different parameters. If somebody has motor neuron disease, if somebody has multiple sclerosis and is more prone to heat intolerance, more prone potentially to neurological fatigue. So there's lots of different types of exercise. You've got strength, endurance, flexibility, and range of motion. The best thing you can do is a mix of all three. Pick one you like and go with that. Try and find something that's fun. Here at MSWA, we try and mix things up because you're going to be doing exercise the rest of your life, so you don't really want to get bored. We don't want to exhaust our options. And so we offer a number of programs like yoga and Tai Chi and Pilates. Some of these aren't offered at all of our centres yet, but as we get bigger and as the NDIS continues to roll out, we're going to start incorporating more and more programs. If there's something that you'd like to see, by all means, talk to some of the physios or talk to some of the staff members or suggest it at one of the meetings, and it's something we can consider. We also do land and water-based exercises, and if you like swimming or you like going to the beach, the current research says if you exercise in water, you actually have increased balance benefits than you do on land from the feedback from the water. So you can always take the exercises that we give you and do them in water. We also have circuit classes for our more highly functioning members that are more like a gym program. And we also have the Balance Master, which is a machine that's sort of like a cross between a treadmill, a balance board, and a phone booth, which we harness somebody up in it and then we rock it side to side like an old sideshow thrilling entertainment system. It pretty much just works on promoting your saving responses and improving your balance that way. It's not for everybody, but the reason I mention it is because I am also promoting a Balance Master multiple sclerosis trial at the end, so I thought I'd give you a little rundown of what it is. You're never too old to exercise, and you're never too unwell or never too disabled to exercise. Obviously, if you're acutely unwell with the flu, a day in bed's not going to undo all the work you've been doing for years, but everybody should exercise. And a lot of the time when I was working in private practice, you'd get the weekend warriors, which are the old bloke who hasn't exercised in 20 years, goes to the doctor says quit smoking, quit drinking, do exercise. So he goes out on the weekend, plays a full game of footy, next day can't walk, sore back, sore legs, sore knees, can't go to work, etc. You tell him what to do, doesn't do it, goes back to drinking, smoking, 6 weeks, does the same thing, runs out the weekend, exhausts himself, and just goes up and down. And it's no good for you at any level. So I recommend for everybody, whether it's a neurological condition that you have or if you just want to get fit, if you start off light and slow with small amounts of exercise and build it up, it's not as specky as catching the winning mark on the first footy game you played in 20 years, but it's a lot better for your longevity. So if you have multiple sclerosis, and here we're getting a bit more specific to that, forget anything that your personal trainers have ever told you, which are all the power terms: no pain, no gain, feel the burn, pain is weakness leaving the body, sweat is fat crying, which sounds good, but it doesn't make any sense. And if you can't walk the next day, it's been a good workout. And really, that is not the case with MS at all. If you can't walk the next day, that's a big issue, and your physio is not doing their job properly. So working with people with MS, the main things we want to make sure of are that you're comfortable, that we're not pushing you too hard, we're not challenging your balance too much, because obviously there's a difference between challenging your balance and pushing you over the ceiling on the floor. We don't aim to push you into exhaustion. Sometimes people will leave the class and they'll say, oh yeah, I haven't really done too much, I don't really feel like I've worked. That's fine. Next time we can work a bit harder. But it's much better to start off lighter and not do so much than exhaust you your first time around. And the thing that I sort of just want to emphasize is we don't want to push people into neurological fatigue, which is where if I went to the gym for 10 hours because I had a party coming up and I wanted to look good for it or something, I'd be very sore for a few days afterwards, and then I'd recover. But if you have a neurological condition, you can trigger sort of like a mini relapse where you're just really worn out and your body's thinking, oh geez, what's happened? And you're written off for a few days. It's a worst case scenario kind of thing, but it's just something we want to be aware of, that we're not pushing people too hard. Which the contrast is, if you go to the gym, personal trainers, they've got half an hour to prove that they're the best personal trainer in the gym, and they're going to push you as hard as they possibly can and make you do stuff that is almost impossible, so it looks like they're doing something that you can't do on your own. I'd say choose something you enjoy. Try and involve others as well, because if you involve people, you get more peer pressure, and it's harder to cop out on a Friday afternoon when you just want to sit down and watch Netflix and have a lot of fun. So just as a little picture to liven things up, this is me in John Forest National Park on my mountain unicycle, balancing on a rock, on a waterfall, on a unicycle. Putting my money where my mouth is, I don't believe that health professionals like physios shouldn't exercise, but a lot of my friends who are physios don't exercise enough or are carrying extra weight. And I think, well, if you're not doing it, how can you expect anybody that you talk to or teach to follow what you're saying? So that's the sum total of the talk. The two studies that I want to spruik, we've just run out of flyers down at the NDIS table down there, but there's one left if you want to run down and get it afterwards. If you are interested in being in either of these studies, please let me know. I'll have a clipboard down the back. You can write your email address on the piece of paper. The first one is a 1-hour interview with researchers from Murdoch University, and that's just looking at how exercise is incorporated into your lifestyle, what exercise you can do, how you feel it's going for you, and so on and so forth. It's only a 1-hour one-off thing, so it's not too intensive. The next one is a Balance Master training study. Some of our members have already done Balance Master training through the WA or WANRI, WA Neurological Research Institute at Charles Gardner Hospital, but this time it involves non-invasive brain stimulation. So if that doesn't grab you, I don't know what will. What they're looking at is just whether a Balance Master training program without brain stimulation will be as effective or different or less effective than a Balance Master training program with an electrical current running through your head. I think it sounds pretty cool. I imagine somebody up there with bolts in the neck and so on. If you're interested in that one, it's a 6-week, twice weekly study performed at Sir Charles Gardner Hospital. It is a little bit more labour intensive, but it's pretty cool, and you get to work with some of the cutting edge neuro research guys in WA, and that's also up the back there that you can have a look afterwards. Otherwise, has anybody got any questions?